What's up, guys? How's it going? So going to be a pretty short video here for the most part. I wanted to give you my latest kind of update on what I've been working on. So here I got 24 ancient Germanic cavalry, plus a little officer or commander or character, whatever he wants to be. So yeah, I did 24 of these guys. They are a mix of a couple different manufacturers. So there is Footsore Miniatures in there, and there is Wargames Foundry in there. There is also Gripping Beast. Um, so I will give you a close-up tour here. So we'll start here. So I mixed them all on bases together. So here you can see Footsore, Gripping Beast, Plastics, and the Foundry are all mixed together. With the Gripping Beast stuff, I did put on Victrix heads, and I did some light conversion work on the arms. The noble there, or officer or whatever, he is a Foundry figure, and I like to he's got some Roman style equipment on, so I thought that was a good, he'd be a great character figure to be an officer. The front guys here are all Foundry. The back ones are a mix of Foundry and Footsore miniatures. So, yeah, 24 horsemen plus a character. I would be pretty comfortable using these troops for pretty much any time from, maybe Julius Caesar's invasion of Gaul, where he had a lot of German troops, German cavalry, or, all the way up to basically that fall of Rome period. Tunic, spear, shield, yeah, those things didn't really change that much. Some of the guys in this unit have some of those later period helmets. I don't think they really stand out from the crowd. If they were all wearing them, that would be one thing, but a couple guys with the later period helmets, I think it just looks like a guy with a helmet from this kind of distance. So, pretty short video for the most part. I want to show you guys that. The other thing I wanted to show you is this came up during the podcast a couple weeks ago, the Pile of Shame broadcast or podcast, whatever it's called. So I appeared on that podcast, and I got asked about my painting method because I was kind of holding these tongue depressors, and people were wondering what was going on with that. So I can show you what that is here close up. So what that is I stick nowadays pretty much all my 28mm figures onto these. I'll do 4 or 5 infantry and 2 to 3 cavalry. So yeah, these are some Crusader crossbowmen or Norman crossbowmen, whatever, that have been kind of a long, these have been on my desk forever. Kind of a, I paint them when I feel like it kind of deal. But yeah, and actually this one has 5 figures on it. So these will be some crossbowmen for the Crusaders. But yeah, this is kind of my go-to method. And the reason why I've gone with this way is for speed. It means that instead of picking up 5 miniatures each time, especially, you can see on these, they all have chainmail. So you might as well paint all of them chainmail, picking them up at once rather than picking them up 5 individual times to paint chainmail on them. They all have red on them. You might as well pick the stick up once to paint red rather than picking it up a million times, each figure individually. So it saves a lot of time, in my opinion. I think it really does save a lot of handling time. It's great for storage and moving them around. I think sometimes when they're singly based on painting things, they have a tendency to fall over. But I think the greatest utility with this is actually in the priming process. So I don't know if you ever experience this. When I prime, I'm usually trying to prime as many miniatures as possible, so that to take advantage of overspray. So if you're only priming a couple miniatures at a time with the rattle can, most of the paint gets on the box and not on the miniature. So that's why I try and fill the box with as many troops as possible to catch all that overspray on the miniatures. So I usually paint in batches of like 100 spray paint prime, batches of as many as I can fit in a box. So like hundreds of miniatures. So what this does is this really greatly reduces the handling time while priming. So you stick a bunch of these racked up like this in the box, spray them, boom, then you can just turn them and they don't fall over. I feel like when you're priming individual figures, they fall over all the time, which is really annoying. They don't fall over on the sticks. You do the front prime, boom. Turn it around, do the side prime, boom. Turn around, do the back prime, boom. Turn around, do the other prime. The last side prime, boom. All taken care of. Whereas when you've got individual figures, you end up having to rotate all of the figures around. And I guess if you are able to prime without sides on a box, you could just turn the box around. But I usually prime in the bed of my truck, and I don't want to get spray paint all over the back of my truck. So I have to do them in a box with 3 sides to prevent that. So if I just did a box with no sides, yeah, you could just spin the box around. But this system works very well for me. I'll show you one last thing. So I bought the Gripping Beast plastic Dark Age Cavalry with the mind to convert them into more like ancient cavalry, which I've kind of done here by putting Victrix heads on and some arm conversions for the original ones. I also bought the Gripping Beast Armored Cavalry just to check them out. I would say, really they get a 5 out of 10 for me as is. It's kind of a little lazy. They went for basically the exact same sculpts as the unarmored cavalry. So what I wanted to do is make them look a little more unique and kind of spruce them up a little bit and make them stand out from the plastic ones. So from the unarmored ones. So the unarmored ones I used the poses once, and then I cut arms off and glued Victrix arms on. These ones, they've got they're in the male coats. So what I did for these is I actually cut arms off and stuck Wargames Atlantic arms on them. So this guy, he has so the helmet and the body are Gripping Beast, but I cut off both of his arms and I stuck a pointing hand from the Wargames Atlantic late Roman set on him. And the sword is from the Wargames Atlantic swords as well. This guy, I put a Wargames Atlantic sword on him. I know the sword looks like it's kind of in the way. I was kind of basing that off of, I've seen people demonstrating sword fighting, and that is a cut that horsemen do use. I mean, the arm would be in a slightly different position to avoid the horse, but that is a cut that I've seen cavalry use. They don't really telegraph the sword blows often the way you see it in movies. They actually kept the sword quite close to the body. And this last one has a Wargames Atlantic spear arm on him, and also a Wargames Atlantic head. So if you ever do these conversions, just know the Wargames Atlantic heads don't sit well on either Gripping Beast or Victrix necks. So you have to cut the neck off a little bit to get those helmets to stick. I think for the cavalry, I think I quite like the Gripping Beast helmets a little bit more than the Wargames Atlantic helmet. But the Gripping Beast doesn't really do a good ridge helmet like Wargames Atlantic does, like this ridge style helmet. The Wargames Atlantic, the Gripping Beast ones are all kind of more like this style, rather than that classic late Roman ridge style. So I'm gonna leave you there. I already kind of prattled on a lot longer than I meant to. I think really what we got to do next is I need to clear all this French and Indian War stuff off my desk. So I think we're just gonna have to take the time to get those done. But that's it from me. I'll see you in the next one. I hope you have a great week. Catch you around. Bye.